Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I welcome you all in my class. So today, first year, we are going to start our lesson number 1, responsibilities of youth, from your new book, edition 2020. Okay, from the textbook by KPK. So as we all know that there is a change in the text and in the topic, so we are going to start from lesson number 1, that is responsibilities of youth. That is speech by our great leader Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. As you all know that Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, in all his address, in all his speeches, he has specially emphasized on the role of students. It could be understood in this way that in our textbooks we just see that there are very important quotes that are said by our great leader. On the other hand, he has called the students as the real makers of Pakistan. He has stressed all the time to work hard, and for the students he has emphasized that the studies should be their first obligation. So we may understand that what was his vision regarding the objectives of the students, that they must strive hard for their studies, they must work hard for their studies, and as they are the real makers of Pakistan, they are the future of Pakistan. So let's start, dear students, let's start our lesson for today, that is responsibilities of youth, from page number 2, unit number 1. So this speech was in fact the extract that is taken from Student Role in Nations Building. It was delivered on 24th March 1948. Speech at the Dhaka University Convocation on 24th March 1948, recorded by Radio Pakistan Dhaka. And if you want to listen that inspiring speech, you may just go to YouTube and you may write Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah Dhaka speech for the students, and you are going to just listen the audio. Definitely we cannot have that much pure you can say the voice, but even then the tone and the utterance of all those words inspires us a lot. So first of all, let's start that as we come to know that what was the background. The background is that the speech was given at the Dhaka University Convocation on 24th March 1948. Here Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah starts his speech. Mr. Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, when I was approached by the Vice Chancellor with the request to deliver the convocation address, I made it clear to him that there were so many calls on me that I couldn't possibly prepare a formal convocation address on an academic level with regard to the great subject with which university deals. So, first of all, he makes it clear to everyone, to the parents, to the Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, to the people, to the audience there, that when he was approached by the Vice Chancellor to be a chief guest in a convocation address, that is the we may say end of year ceremony for the student to award their degrees, he just made it very clear that as I have many commitments, so I couldn't find a proper, I couldn't make a proper speech for that. So let's see, is it right or not, as he doesn't need to prepare the speech well, because he was very much clear about his vision towards the role of the students. So he makes it clear to his audience that what he is not going to deliver the things on the things that university is dealing with the great subjects such as arts, history, philosophy, science, law, and so on. So I will not be talking about the subjects that the university is teaching, but I didn't, however, promise to say a few words to the students. I did, however, promise to say a few words to the student on the occasion that it is in the fulfillment of the promise that will address you now. So he prepares the students that no doubt that I am not going to give you the speech on the importance of all the other subjects that you are being taught in the university, that I will deliver some words on this occasion, that I am going to address you people, that the words that would be significant. First of all, he starts his speech in a formal way. First of all, let me thank the Vice Chancellor for the flattering terms in which he referred to me. First of all, he just, in a formal tone, he thanks the Vice Chancellor for introducing him in a good terms. Flattering terms mean that in a very, he has used very high praising words. So he has just introduced me in a very good way. Mr. Vice Chancellor, whether I am and whether I have been able to do, I have done it merely as a mere duty which is incumbent, which is necessary upon every Musliman to serve his people honestly and selflessly. So first of all, our great leader Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Janab makes it clear to the people there, to the audience there, that as I had been introduced in a very with a very high praising words, I had been appreciated for the work that I have done. So let me make it clear to everyone that it is my duty, what I have done, what I have served to my people, to my nation. Okay, as you know that the role of our great leader is being called as the founder of Pakistan, okay, father of nation. So whatsoever the role he has done, he just acknowledges this thing, that it is my duty which is incumbent, which is necessary upon every Musliman to serve his people honestly and selflessly. So what I have done, it was my all the effort being a Muslim. It was my duty to serve my nation, to play my responsible role, to play my, you can say, a very constructive, productive and safe role for my nation. So whatsoever I have done, this was the part of my duty. So in fact he wants to say that I do not need any flattering term for that. Whatsoever I have done my role as a Muslim. In addressing you, I am not here speaking to you as the head of state. So he again makes it clear that it is not that I am going to talk to you as the head of the state, newborn state, that is Pakistan, but as a friend. Please mark these words. That, and as one who has always held in you in affection, and I am not as presenting myself as a head of the state. I am your friend who has a great affection, who has a great, you can say, feeling towards you. Many of you have today got your diplomas and degrees, and I congratulate you. So he starts addressing the students, and he just makes them clear that I am not talking to you as the head of the state, but I am talking to you as your friend. That friend who has a great feeling towards you, as I really congratulate you for the degree you have been bestowed. Just as you have won the laurel, as you have won the honor in your university and qualified yourself, so I wish you all success in the wider and larger world that you would enter. So he just not only congratulates all those two students, but also he just gives them the best wishes for their future life as well. That no doubt you have been awarded, you are going to be awarded your degrees, and you have got the honor, you have won the honor in your university, and you have qualified now, but you are moving towards your, but I wish you all this success in the wider and the larger world that you will enter, definitely in the practical world, where they are going to just go for their different jobs, where they are going to perform their different roles. He continues, many of you have come to the end of your scholastic career. So he says that many of you, then he categorizes the student, many of you have just make the end of your academic career and stand at the threshold of life. You are at the beginning. Threshold mean that is the doorstep, the dahliz. Okay, so what does he says? He says that you are just at the close to that the doorstep of the life, that is the practical life. Definitely they are alive. Threshold of life mean there you are going to step forward. Your university life and your all academic activities, your all educational career is now is past, now, and you are going to go ahead, you are going to take the step in the life of practical VN. Okay, so he says that you are going to just, you are there, you are going to enter into the you are standing at the threshold of life, you are just taking your step ahead towards the practical life, unlike your predecessors. Okay, so here he mentions, unlike your people that have gone before you. Predecessors mean your previous batch, your previous your the previous one, your senior batches. You fortunately leave this university to enter life under a sovereign independent state of your own. So what is the difference? What is the difference? It is a routine matter that the student come and go. Students just take their degrees and they just go, they just opt for different professions. But what is different here in 1948? What is the difference in 1948? In this address, in this convocation, the difference lies that no, we are an independent nation. As far as your predecessors were concerned, as far as your previous batches were concerned of the students, those have been awarded the degree in 1946 or in 1947 or in 1945, they were having a different outlook towards life, they were having different challenges. But no, you are going to enter into the life, you are going to just serve your own country, as we are independent now. So you are going to take the step into you are going to enter the life into a sovereign, into independent, into honorable state of your own, as we have got the freedom now. So what is the difference? The difference lies here. These are the different words, difficult meanings for the paragraph number 1 and the paragraph number 2. Then he continues, it is necessary that you and your other fellow students fully understand the implications, the different implications, the different, you can say, complications. What are those? So he just draws the attentions of all the people there. Implication of the revolutionary change that took place on the birth of Pakistan. We have broken the shackles of slavery. We are now free people. Our state is our own state. Our government is our own government of the people, responsible to the people of the state and working for the good of the state. Freedom, however, doesn't mean license. It doesn't mean that you can now behave just as you please and do what you like, irrespective of the interests of other people or of the state. Very important paragraph. This is, in fact, you can say, this is in fact the deep foresight of our great leader. This is in fact the guidance to all of us. What is that? No doubt there is a difference between you people and the people that had been passed out previous year or before the previous year. But being an independent person, living in an independent country, it doesn't mean that you are free to perform whatsoever you are. So he lays down, he just laid down all those implications, all those criterion for the students, that they should know, they should consider that what does our great leader want them to do. So as I have told you earlier, that our leader VN, our great leader VN, Quaid-e-Azam VN, was student role as nation builder. He has called them as the real maker of Pakistan, and he also emphasized on the working harder and harder for the students. So he says that there are different implications, there are different, you can say, something that is implied indirectly. There are certain difficulties or something. Implications means something that is implied, that we couldn't get into direct way. After revolutionary changes that took place on the birth of Pakistan, what is that? We have broken the shackles of slavery. Number one, that we have broken that chains of slavery, that we are free now. by breaking the shackles of slavery from the Britons. We are free now. Our state is our state. Our country is our country. Our government is now our government of the people, responsible to the people, to the state, and working for the good of the state. Freedom, however, doesn't mean license. Very important. He says that we are living independently. We are free now. We are free to perform in our own country, but it doesn't mean that you are going to you we have got the license, we have got the permit to do anything. It doesn't happen. Even living in a home, it doesn't happen that we are living in our home and we may perform whatsoever do we do want. No, there are different codes of conduct, there are different rules. Definitely, even living in a home, it are being laid down by the parents or by the elder ones, and we are bound to follow them. So he just diverts the attention of all the people towards this thing, that being an independent doesn't mean that you are given the authority, you are given the permit to do whatsoever you are. So what is the challenge now? Freedom, it doesn't mean that you can now behave just as you please and do what you like, irrespective of the interest of the other people of the state. So it doesn't mean that in which way you want to live, in which way you want to see, whatsoever you want to do, you are allowed to do. No, not at all. As the interest of other people, as the your benefit, or as the life of the other people is also related with all your things. A great responsibility rests on you. us direct our energies to do some positive work now. So what are these difficulties thought out in their desire to prevent the establishment of Pakistan? So he says that what we have got our country, but no, we are being faced with the different challenges to run our government. What is that? Thought we are prevented. We are just we are prevented in by whom? By our enemies in their desire to prevent the establishment of Pakistan. Our enemies turn their attention to finding ways and means to weaken and destroy us. So when I said that he has a deep foresight or vision, that is the threat that we are facing even now. So he says that it is our enemy desire that first of all he just prevented, he just tried all his he just did all his move. Our enemy did all its move to stop us for making Pakistan, but when it couldn't be done, okay, when it couldn't be done, so they are going to find any of the way to destroy us, to weaken us. Okay, so it is not easy to establish a newly born state, to establish a new government. So once we have just made them, we didn't make their filthy plan to come true, that they could stop us for making Pakistan. So they are making their plan to weaken us, to destroy us. Hardly had the new state come into being when came the Punjab and Delhi Holocaust. Okay, so he says that how we have just got all those, how we have got a new state, it has been cast, it has just cost us by a Punjab and Delhi Holocaust, by the disaster, by the slaughter of the people that were living in Punjab and Delhi. I mean, we have sacrificed many lives. We have sacrificed many lives to make our home, to make our country, and definitely the enemies tried their best to stop us. We sacrificed our lives. We just then came to the position to have our country. Thousands of men, women and children were mercilessly butchered. They were sacrificed, and millions were uprooted from their homes, and millions were made homeless. Over 50 lakhs of these arrived in Punjab within a matter of weeks. So first, it is very important, it is very essential that you must draw the attention of your kids, we may say your children or your young ones, towards the blessing they are enjoying. Until we do not make anyone realize towards the blessing they are being blessed, they are not going to be thankful. Okay, as we take the thing for granted by the of the blessings of Allah Almighty, we do not consider the importance of the things, such as we may take the example, as in the previous week it was so rainy, we couldn't have the sunshine, it was so rainy all the time. But then we realized the importance of sun, then we realized the importance of the dry day. So same is the case here. Same is the technique being used by our great leader. He wants to make the people, he wants to make the student realize the importance of the freedom. In order to realize that the blessing of the freedom, he has to make them realize what the cost they have paid, what the sacrifice they have laid down to get their hometown. So countless people, they were given, they just sacrificed their lives. Thousands of the men, they had been murdered in a very brutal way. It was a disaster. And then there were a million of them that were made homeless. And he suggests, draws the attention of his audience by that over 50,000 of 50 lakhs of these arrived in Punjab within a matter of weeks. The care and rehabilitation of these unfortunate refugees is stricken in body and in soul, presented problems which might well have destroyed many a well-established state. So as he has made is the background towards the address, that what are the problems that we are facing now. So definitely he wants their constructive role to for complete, to just you can say to solve all these problems. Okay, so what is the problem? That there are the many people that are the dear ones that has departed because they have laid their lives as they have sacrificed their lives, and many of the people they arrived in Punjab, they are homeless, and their rehabilitation, they, in order to just or for their survival, it is a difficult task. So these all things as they, so the rehabilitation doesn't mean that they are going to be fit, they are going to be adjusted in physical terms as well. They are under some mental stress as well. They have seen they have just given the life of their dear ones on their way to the freedom. So their body and the soul, it is not in a proportionate way, it is not in a balanced way. So they need the counseling as well, they need the love and affection by us as well. So our great leader says that these are all the factors. When people are taken by the brutality by the enemy, and they are in this condition, this is enough to shake a newborn country. But those are our enemies who had hoped to kill Pakistan at its very inception, at its very beginning, by these means were disappointed. So though the enemy trick that didn't work, those wanted that in the very start, in the very beginning, they wanted to just in the beginning, in the initial stage, they wanted to kill Pakistan as a country, Pakistan, by just making a great burden towards them. It didn't work. They had different means. They are disappointed now. Not only has Pakistan survived the shock of the upheaval, but also it's a much stronger, more chastened, and better equipped than ever. So he continues that it is not the case that we are that they tried their best to make us weaken by threatening us with our lives, by threatening us to make us homeless. But these all tactics, these all filthy plays, these all the dirty moves of the enemy didn't work. But we are in the initial stage. As we are in initial stage, 1 year hardly has passed. So what we have to, we just survived that upheaval, that imbalance, that disaster, the shock. But we have emerged no more stronger. We are no more, you can say, in a better, having a we are now in a moderating condition. Okay, we are restricting our moderating condition. We are now balanced. Okay, chastened mean we are in a moderate condition and better equipped than ever, as difficulties and the hardships have just polished our characteristics. These are the difficult words. There followed in rapid succession other difficulties. So this was not the end of the difficulties that we face. There are many other difficulties as well, such as withholding by India and our cash balance, such as, so he just draws the attention again of the audience towards the other difficulties. The previous one that he has discussed, it was the sacrifice of many of the people. It was the million of the people that were made homeless. It was a disaster. Then he said that we just tried to compensate, we just tried to rehabilitate, we just tried for the rehabilitation of all these matters. But this was not the simple, only this matter was this. But there were other factors as well, such as our cash balance, our share of military equipment, and lately the institution of an almost complete economic blockade of your province. Okay, so what were the other difficulties as well? That as when India and Pakistan, they got separated, there were many, you can say, as they were previously in subcontinent, they were living together. So definitely they were sharing the same institution, they were sharing the same military equipment, they were sharing the same cash. in the country. But later, when it was divided, some of the provinces and along with its all resources and the chairs were given to the that particular government. But here the enemy made another move, and it tried to snatch all that the resources, the natural resources from Pakistan. So he says that it was not that we were being threatened by the lives of our people, but to sacrifice the life of our people, they were not only made homeless, but we were not given our rightful, you can say, resources that were the part of the charter, that was the part of the agreement. So we were not given that military equipment, we were having less cash balance, and there were many institutions that had to be the part of us, as we know that there were many educational institutions, the weapon factories and other resources as well that were kept by India. I have no doubt that our right thinking men in India Dominion deplored these happening, and I am sure that attitude of the mind that has been responsible for them will change. But it is essential that you should take note of these developments. So he says that I do understand that those who are living in Indian Dominion mean in Indian, can say in that state, in that territory, they will deplore, they will condemn these happenings. Those who are having the fair judgment, those who are having the clear judgment that we had been given and we had not been given our rightful position, not in terms of the places, but sometime in terms of the resources as well. The people with the clear vision in India even will deplore, they will condemn all these happenings. But it is essential, it will just change the attitude of the people, but it is essential that you must know all these factors, that what we are going through. So this was all for today's lesson. We have covered till yet. This is the background of the speech. He has just drawn the attention of the his students and all the people towards the important thing that we are facing at the right moment, and he draws the attention of his audience towards that thing, that what are the difficulties a newborn state is facing. On the other hand, but the remaining part of the speech, that is a direct address towards the student, and there is the different guidelines that he is going to suggest for the students. So this was all for today. I hope so that as the lesson is easy, it would not be difficult for you. Take good care of you. Inshallah Ta'ala will be continuing with the same lesson, Inshallah Ta'ala, tomorrow.